Good evening. I'm Amy Henderson with the Georgia Municipal Association.
And I'm Kelly Bennett with the Georgia Municipal Association.
And this is our Live in the Hall show where we invite everybody to come in and see what's going on with the Georgia Municipal Association Annual Convention. This is our 85th Annual Convention.
Wow.
I know, it's amazing. I've only been here for 5 of them. I wish that were true. But we want to invite everybody to come and see what's going on with our convention. And so we want to interview some of the folks who are involved in it, interview some of the vendors who are here. This is a really exciting convention, I think, this year.
It is.
We have more attendees than we have had in recent years. I think it's like 2,300 people here in Savannah for this convention, and our exhibit hall is full. And
yes, already.
And you're going to go talk to some of these folks. And
yeah, I'm super excited. So we put out a call for exhibitors, and like the floodgates open. So I'm just really excited to see what they have to say, what they have to offer our cities, and they're just like, you know, each year I do this, like I get more excited to talk to them, probably more than they are to talk to me. But
the thing that I always find amazing is it's like there are solutions to things that I didn't even know were problems.
Exactly.
It's like, oh, that's a thing?
Right, and then I find myself in my daily life like, but I met an exhibitor who can help me with that and maybe help cities. So you learn so much at GMA.
And one of the cool things with the theme of our convention this year is the theme is is the character of cities, looking at civility and kindness and inclusion. And we just got finished with, earlier today, to kind of recap what we've done today, we had training yesterday, training this morning, policy community meetings, which were very important to our organization because this is where, at this annual conference, is where we set our policies for the next session. So it's hard to believe that we just got through with one legislative session and we're
into the next.
And we're about to approve the policies for 2019. But then we also had that great keynote speaker, Celeste Headley.
She was amazing. She was so powerful. I mean, I kind of stalked her prior to, so we saw her TED Talks before, but to see her in person, like she gave us this really succinct list of 10 things to do to improve conversation, and I am guilty. I was like, I do all that wrong. So, I mean, hopefully like, the members can take something away from it, and really even the conversations that they have this weekend just to build on those principles and tactics that she shared.
I think one of the things that really struck me, and I tweeted it out during her speech, was that empathy is the thing that brings us together as a species, and that it's on the decline, and that's really sad. And you know, it's like, okay, so I'm going to be conscientiously trying to be more empathetic and listen to people. So that was just a great start.
She really set the tone. So definitely tone from the top, and I'm really excited to see what happens now. With, the conversation, just the flow of the convention.
Yeah, and so so we have our opening exhibit hall right now. Tomorrow we have more. We have our district meetings,
district caucuses, which are a very exciting time for them to get together and get updates. Then we have, of course, our awards is Monday.
Awards is Monday. Tomorrow's the training ceremony. I mean,
that'll be good. We roll out the red carpet.
Our convention is not one where you come and it's like, oh, I'm just going to have a little vacation. There is no vacation.
But it's a fun type of no vacation.
Right. No, and I think this struck me yesterday as I was watching people come in and come to the registration desk and everything. That the one thing you see a lot of at the GMA convention is hugs. People hugging each other because it is that family reunion type atmosphere where it's like, oh, I haven't seen you in a year, I haven't seen your kids, and it really is such an awesome atmosphere. And
it is.
And I got my share of hugs.
So did I. So I remember this is my third convention, and the first year I didn't hug too many people, which is to be expected.
That's appropriate.
You know, I was like, oh, okay.
I don't know you.
But now I know a lot more, and through with the newspaper, I've been able to see their stories kind of take shape in life, and now I'm able to congratulate them and say, how's it going, and follow up. So definitely that supportive family, and definitely a lot of character.
As you say, for us as staff, it's an opportunity to reconnect with them too, because we may be on the phone with them, we may be emailing with them, but we don't always get to see them in person. So it's a great opportunity. So I'm going to let you go out and find us some interesting vendors to share their stories.
They're excited. I'm excited too.
And I am going to be back momentarily with our president-elect and our president and talk about the year that Mayor Hubbard has had and the year Mayor Blessinger is anticipating. So we'll be right back. Welcome back to Live in the Hall. I'm Amy Henderson with the Georgia Municipal Association here at the Georgia Municipal Association's 85th Annual Convention in Savannah, Georgia. It's a great place to be. We bring this year we brought about 2,300 people to Savannah. You can't walk without running into one of us, and it's great. I kind of look at the exhibit hall being completely full. The number of people that are here for this really kind of too is a sign of the economy picking up as well, and so that's really exciting. And I am joined now by Mayor Dorothy Hubbard, who is the current GMA president, and Mayor Linda Bleschinger of Auburn, who is going to be sworn in as she'll be voted into office tomorrow and then sworn in on Monday. So welcome to you both.
Well, thank you.
Thank you.
So Mayor Hubbard, first tell me kind of what has your year as president been like for you?
Well, it's actually been an awesome year. We think that we accomplished all of our goals. We had the support of a great, awesome staff. You all have done an outstanding job in supporting me and making sure I get where I needed to be and making sure that all the things that GMA represents were on target. Also, I have traveled over, I guess, close to 2,000, maybe more than 2,000 miles, representing our cities and representing the citizens of Georgia. But the thing that's been so amazing to me is that people know and respect the Georgia Municipal Association.
Awesome.
They expect certain things at certain levels from us. And that's been one of the things that's really been amazing and has been exciting for me. And when I meet someone and they say, well, hello, you're the president of Georgia Municipal Association, that really makes me feel good. It makes me know that we really are a great organization and we're really doing a good job.
Well, and I totally credit our city officials with that too. I mean, we have, I always tell people, if you want to meet people who really have a servant's heart, it is local elected officials.
I agree.
Especially at the city level where you run nonpartisan, it is really about being a servant to the city. And of course,
I also enjoyed meeting the newly elected officials.
Right.
That was really, really awesome. We had a number of separate sessions with our new mayors, and then I also spoke to both of the newly elected officials group, close to 500 newly elected officials.
So you had the opportunity, because last year was an election year, of welcoming about 500 newly elected city officials.
Yes.
And our theme for our convention is the character of cities, kindness, civility, inclusion, and that is something that you have not just been preaching, you've been practicing. And I know you have shared that with those.
I have. Because what you have to understand is you can't get anything done by yourself.
Right.
And I think you have to also make your constituents understand that. On our board, it takes 4 votes to get something done. So that means that if I'm for something, I have to convince 3 other people to go with me. And so I cannot, be ugly or have disagreements with them. And it's just civil for us to get behind the doors and talk about it and talk through it and then agree to disagree. Those kinds of things.
And Mayor Bleschinger, your city is amazing. Auburn has got so much going on. But you've been such a powerful leader for your city too, and brought people together as well. So I know this civility thing is something that you have lived as well in your city, and bringing people to the table. How difficult is that to bring people with different ideas? People run as individuals, and they run in these campaigns, and then they get elected, and now it's not about the individual, but it's about the team. How is it difficult to?
I think the challenge is that everybody has their own personality, everybody has their own way of viewing and even of communicating. And so I think the first challenge is finding out, how do they communicate, and what's really important to them? What are they really passionate about? And then I think you can start focusing on what the issues are. We're policymakers. Let's focus on policy.
We love policy.
And
policy is good.
What is best for our community?
Yes. And the one thing we all have in common is that we are passionate about our community. We may not agree on maybe what we want built or where the money's going to go, whatever, but you get together, you have retreats, or we do, and we hash it out and talk about, why is it important to me, why is it important to you, and I think that helps. Everybody feels like they have a say, they have a part, they're being heard, And I think that helps to bridge some of those gaps.
Right.
And then you find it's not for the faint of heart,
right?
And it's not and it's not a sprint. It's a long distance run.
Yes.
Right.
You know?
It's a journey, really.
Well, that's a great point,
Yeah.
because you're not elected for a 1 month period.
That's
it's,
right.
It's a 4-year term. You
Right.
know?
That's right.
You can take your time, figure out the lay of the land,
Yeah.
and then where you fall into that. And I know, Mayor Blessinger, you're not, your relationship building isn't, and I know you've done this as well, but it's not just at the local level. It's also at that state level. As making, and you just got an award today for your advocacy efforts.
Yeah.
Yes.
How important is it for city governments, for city government leaders to be engaged with the state legislators?
Yeah, I think it's actually so much more important than most mayors and council members realize. And that's understandable.
Right.
Because the first thing you do as a newly elected official is try to figure out, okay, now what?
Right.
Yeah,
What am I doing here?
What have I done?
So, I think you have to get over that initial shock
Right.
and learn about your own city. But I think after that first year, especially coming to GMA, it really helps to connect for you to understand, listen, what happens in my city is going to affect what happens in Albany. What's going to happen. So it's important to understand that our legislators are making decisions that are going to affect our cities and our citizens. And I think that message coming across, it kind of, all of a sudden your worldview is expanded and you say, oh, it's really important. I really do have to get to know them. Yeah, this is important.
And we have to make them understand our issues and what we are trying to do.
Yeah. And I think one of the things that really stood out to me was my first year as, I think I was on council, my first year on council, and I went up to the Capitol, and session was not even in, but they were all meeting. And I was like, what?
Of course.
Wait a minute, what are you meeting about? You
Right.
know? And, they're getting prepared for the next legislative session.
And you realize at that point that you need to be connected with them.
Absolutely. I thought, oh my.
So I think it can be intimidating
Yeah.
to somebody that's not their world.
Yeah.
And as you guys know, elected city officials, it's a part-time job. You have other real life things that you're doing,
Right.
and you go in and you're learning city government, which is, I mean, I've been doing this for 20 years, and every day I'm like, what? That's a thing. I learn something new
every day.
Yeah, which keeps it interesting, and I love it. But for a local elected official, one who's newly elected, that can be intimidating. What advice would you give them on how to get involved with the legislative process? Where do they start?
Yeah.
How do you overcome that?
Let Dorothy start.
I think that you have to start by introducing yourself to your local legislators. You must know who they are. You must have their cell numbers and their home numbers. And you must be able to get in touch with them and talk to them. And actually, having a hometown connection allows you to tell them what the issues are for your city.
Right.
It allows you to explain, if I lose X, Y, Z, then my city budget is going to go down to this,
Right.
And so I need you to understand. And what I have also done is brought them in, when they are home on weekends sometimes, I will meet them and tell them, I need this to happen. So much so to this year, one of my legislators was like, do not call me, I got this.
But you make a great point, is that they are also part-time.
Exactly.
They are part-time,
Exactly.
they have their real lives, and then they've got all these other, they've got these special interest groups and everything, that are trying to get their attention too.
Exactly.
And so it's just educating, I guess.
Yes, it's educating and making them understand that their obligation is to us at home.
Right.
I mean, they have an obligation, I think,
Absolutely.
because that's where they're elected. That's
your
why we're
voters are
sending
their
them.
voters.
Exactly.
My first experience with my representative, Terry England, who happens to live in Auburn, but my first experience with him was I called Tom Gell and I said, hey, Tom, I'd like to sit down with Terry and just have a conversation and the three of us just have lunch together.
Right.
Can we do that? And he was like, absolutely, you know. So we just sat down and had a discussion, and really had no agenda to it. I
just building that relationship.
Yeah, I just wanted to kind of know where he was at with some things, and gave him, and I said, Terry, do you have any questions for me? And he did. He had some questions.
Yeah,
you
that's
know?
great.
But that really was the beginning of building that relationship, and I felt kind of shored up having Tom Gale there, because he knew what the issues were. And so
you didn't have to be
helped.
the expert.
Exactly.
You got to build that relationship
That's
and have somebody who has that expertise.
And it just took the pressure off, and it was just relaxed.
Nice.
And like Dorothy said, we have such great staff that really, I mean, I would feel comfortable calling on anyone and saying, hey, could you meet me? I got to meet with so-and-so.
And that's why it's always great to have them come to our hometown connection.
To include them.
Hometown connection. You know, because we're in Barrow and Gwinnett. And I cannot tell you how many times all four show up. And even actually...
So you're kind of outnumbered.
Even actually those that don't even represent me, but they still come, which is great.
Exactly. We have the same thing.
Yeah, it's wonderful. And we have honest, open discussions, take them on road trips, show them the reason we have a stormwater fee is because look what the water does to our roads. Tears them up, you know, and we have to actually
look at the
repair this.
Here.
That's right. And I've taken them
and we don't have Domino's coming to fill those potholes or whoever it was, whatever pizza company it is.
Take them up to Public Works, let them see, you know, the equipment that's aged that needs to be replaced. And, you know, the infrastructure needs. You have businesses that want to come in, but you don't have the infrastructure to support them.
That.
And, you know, all of those things is so important. And when they see it with their own eyes, and I invite citizens, I invite my DDA to come.
That's great.
I invite council to come, and they tell their stories. You know, and so I think it personalizes. For all
it puts that face on it, and it says, this is what's really going on in our communities. And how because I think the bottom line is how it impacts people.
And
so
and the number of people who are going to be impacted.
Okay.
And you know, they care.
Mm-hmm.
They also are elected officials,
and they're there to serve people.
That's right, and they ran because they care. They care about, you know, the state of Georgia, and the people that vote for them are our constituents. So we have something in common.
That's right. We all the people.
And I think that we just have an obligation to make sure that they understand that, you know, the issues, the local issues.
So that, you know, because they don't. They're not exposed to it. Why would they be?
You know, and so that's where our obligation to them. We have an obligation to share with them, you know, what our issues are.
And most of them just want to know. I mean, you know, they really start
want to have
taking
that
an
relationship
interest
in that
So I think
information.
that's very helpful.
So your platform this year was about civility and kindness and inclusion, and I think we've seen some great, you know, conversations about this.
And making sure that people understand that, you know, they have to communicate with each other, they have to work together, and that the people expect them to work together. So.
Because, you know, I know this is no shock to either one of you. Trust in government is on the decline. But I really feel like at the local level is where you have that opportunity to really shore up the trust. Because you're in contact with so many people in your community every single day, and your word is gold to them. And so, Mayor Blessinger, what any plans for your kind of platform this year, or things you're looking forward to?
You know, one of the things that's been on my mind for the last 2 years has been growth, because the state of Georgia is growing. And what does that do to a community? And how can we help each other? You know, making sure communication lines are open.
Because growing pains are really a thing.
They really are.
And you see it in communities where all of a sudden there's this huge population growth, and there's that conflict that can arise from people who have been there, and then the new people coming in with ideas. And
and new people expecting different things, you know, from what we've been used to.
So we're experiencing it, and I think about all the businesses, all the headquarters that are coming in. You know, that means people from all over the place are moving here, which also brings change.
Yes,
you know?
absolutely.
So growth is good. Growth means there's life, so we like growth. I just think that we need to be circumspect about the way that it's happening and make sure that we're helping each other and communicating with each
You're
other.
embracing the change.
Yeah, and being prepared for it. Because I think we saw before the recession a lot of like explosive growth in communities where they weren't ready for it. They weren't prepared for it.
Yeah.
So though that sounds like a great platform. It's gonna be.
And I think anytime you can prepare for the future, that has to be what we're all about.
Yeah,
is making sure that whatever we're doing it for the future.
That's exactly right. Exactly
well,
right.
we look forward to it. We thank you for your year of service.
Well,
it's been a great year. I know you have discovered exactly how big this state is.
I really have. And some back roads that I didn't know existed.
I'm just going to say, I'm just putting in the plug for a GMA helicopter. And Mayor Blesher, we really look forward to this year with you as well. It's going to be a great year.
I look forward to working with her too. She's a sweet person.
We have great leadership at GMA. That is one of the things that makes it the 85th annual convention of GMA is the continued great leadership that we have.
Well,
so thank you both.
Amy, you do an excellent job.
Thank
we
you.
appreciate you.
Well, thank you.
We really do.
And now we're going to go out to Kelly, who is out on the floor with Clark Patterson Lee.
I am here with Scott Gordon, Principal Architect with CPL Designs. Hey, Scott, how are you doing tonight?
Doing great, thank you.
Awesome. Thank you so much for letting us stop by. Can you share with us a little bit about CPL Designs?
Sure, we are here for probably over 10 years with GMA. It's a great conference and we're really excited to be here. We're a integrated services, architecture, engineering, and planning firm. We're based out of Rochester, New York with over 14 offices now. We are in the Carolinas and 2 offices here in Georgia. We have an office in Swanee Town Center and I run our office over in our Woodstock, Georgia office.
Awesome. So what are some of the projects that you've done in Georgia so far?
Well, we've been in Georgia for quite a few years now, and we do a lot of municipal services work where we do planning and community development services in support of cities. We also do engineering and architecture as well, so city halls, amphitheaters, police stations, courts work, streetscapes, essentially anything that the city might need in the way of architecture or engineering or planning, we provide those services.
Now, there are a lot of architectural engineering and planning groups and companies out there. What would you say kind of sets CPL apart?
Well, we're extremely people-focused. We are located in the cities that we serve. So in all of the offices in CPL, we are in some of the smaller cities around larger cities. So for instance, we're in Georgia, but we're not in downtown Atlanta. We're in Woodstock and in Swanee. And a lot of our staff serve in elected official positions. They are on boards. They're very active in their community. So we're a very, very community-focused practice. The other thing that makes us unique is we're an integrated services company. We have everything in-house. We have everything from our civil engineers to our electrical and mechanical engineering, architects, planners, soil scientists, and even landscape architects. A great interiors department too. So we're sort of a one-stop shop when it comes to your design and engineering needs.
It sounds like a one-stop shop, people focused. I mean, let everyone know where they can find you.
Well, we have a brand new URL we're rolling out for our website. It'll be cpldesign.com or clarkpattersonlee.com, so you can get to us through either. And 1-800-274-9000 for those of you that are not on the web, and we would love to hear from you, understand how we can meet the municipal services needs for the GMA here in Georgia.
Perfect. Thank you so much. You all can also stop by the booth. They'll be here tonight and tomorrow. So thank you, Scott. I'm going to head over to our friends at Hannah Solar and see what they have going on. Thanks, Scott. All right, so we have GDOT over here, and one of my favorite things here. I may try to see if I can ride later, but we don't know. Well, we'll see. All right, and we have Georgia Bureau of Investigation. We're going to stop right here at Hannah Solar. Hey, Pete, how are you? Good to see you again.
How are you doing?
Good, how are you?
Great.
So thank you so much for talking to us again. We have Pete Marty here with Hannah Solar, and we talked last time. So what's been going on? First, give us a brief overview, and then kind of tell us what's new with Hannah Solar.
All right, well, we've been busy this year building projects. We've finally finished up the Falcon Stadium project, which was really exciting, downtown Atlanta. But a lot of stuff out in the suburbs and the rural parts of the state. We did, we're doing a chicken house right now.
Wow, let's talk about the chicken house a little bit.
So it's a farmer named Boyette in Reedsville. And so we're putting it on the actual chicken houses, and while his chickens are out, so we're putting that on right now. Literally this week we did it, and he's got the federal investment tax credit on that, and he gets the USDA's REAP grant. So he'll pay for that in just a few short years as well. So it's a nice way for him to save, and kind of gives him a little extra spending money if he has a bad flock or something. Right. So yeah.
Definitely some projects of variety. So for those that aren't familiar with Hannah Solar, can you kind of go over like a broad overview of the services you all offer?
Sure. So we're especially electrical contractor, and so we do a lot of the EV charging infrastructure. That's mostly been centered, in the Metro Atlanta area, some in Savannah, some in Macon, but it's broadening out. We had a gentleman from Swainsboro came by earlier, and we built out some of the corridor. We've got one at a Parker's gas station in Metter, and it's one of the fast chargers, and it's for Georgia Power. They own it, but it's at the Parker's in Metter, so people should stop there and use it, fill up, a little bio break. And then mostly what we do is residential solar, and then our biggest chunk of business is commercial solar. And so we go and design a project, work the economics with a client, and then we build.
So what would some advice that you would give to cities who say, I don't even know where to start when it comes to solar? It's way too expensive. I'm sure you hear that a lot. What do you tell them?
So we talk to them about kind of starting early. We know it's a long-term process. It's usually with a city a 2-year process. City of DeKalb County right now, we're working on a big project that will float on their watershed. So it'll be about 10 acres of floating solar. We're very, very close. We've got the Georgia Power contract. We have a few more signatures we need from DeKalb, so I'm crossing my fingers that one happens. But it's been a year that we've been working with them. A lot of meetings, a lot of conversations, but we honestly like the smaller projects better than the massive ones. This is a pretty massive one. But when someone's designing like Lawrenceville, they've got their new performing arts center. Well, let's put it into the 30-year mortgage and put it on the roof early on and meet with the architects early on. Sometimes it'll get taken out of the project. Sometimes it stays in the project. But if we are in that design phase together, we can run the economics. And it's just like a carpet or roof. You have to put them in there. You've got to buy electricity. Why not own your electricity as opposed to just renting it?
That's a very good point. So definitely planning and kind of patience sounds like two things for them to think about. So we're going to wrap up here, but how can people find out more about Hannah Solar and find you here at the convention?
So I don't even know our booth number. We're next to 629, so we're probably 627 or 31. Yes. Over across from the case equipment. But yeah, look for the tractors. And we're going to be here all day tomorrow, or until the show closes. And we can also be found. Our website's hannahsolar.com, and we're right in Atlanta on Collier Road.
Perfect. So thank you so much, Pete. It's been great. Good to see you.
Are you going to sing again?
No, not this time. So we are going to head back to Live in the Hall set and another interview.
Thank you, Kelly. It's always great to see the folks from Hannah Solar. I have to say, you get to know everybody here in the exhibit hall, and they're good friends with GMA as well. And when I'm driving around the state and I see signs of their solar farms, it's like a celebrity sighting for me. It's like, it's Hannah Solar, I know them. It's really awesome. And the family of GMA is not just about the city officials. It really is about the companies too that do business with our cities, because they're helping us all out so much. So good to see you guys, and Kelly, thanks so much for sharing their story as well. And now joining me is Kiona Warner. Excuse me, I keep saying this wrong because I have a cousin named Warner, and I just want to say that. Warren, from the city of Austell. You're the personnel director in Austell, fairly new.
Yes, extremely new.
So, you've got this all mastered. You've got it all figured out already. And you are one of the cities that uses GMA's HR Express services,
yes,
which is a subscription service. It's like webinars and that type of thing to help you with the complicated stuff that is human resources.
Yes.
So how long have y'all been using HR Express?
We're fairly new. We've only been using it for roughly 2.5 months or so.
Okay. So tell me a little bit about how it works for you. How does
Well, with HR Express, they have, I believe, it's 4 webinars and then 2 to 3 actual meetings that you go to. And in between that, you have so much support from them. They help you out through everything.
Great.
With the webinars, like our first webinar, we spoke about the retention schedule, which a lot of cities have issues with that, because there comes a time that you have to get rid of someone.
Right, you can't keep everything.
No, you
forever.
cannot. And
despite what my office looks like, you can't keep everything forever.
And that's really important, because even with HR, we have documents that we're not supposed to get rid of, but then we also have documents that we can get rid of. So it's just timing.
Right.
So they went over that, and during the presentation, the ladies are so comforting. They make the situation open so that you can talk to them, you can ask questions, they take breaks in between, just to give you a time to think of
to
anything.
assimilate some of that and go like,
Exactly.
okay, but if that's true, then what about this type of situation?
Exactly. And then our first actual meeting class, we spoke about discrimination, we spoke about pregnancy in the work field, which that is a big thing.
Right.
And then the thing that I love about HR Express is that when you're in the classroom or even just doing a webinar with them, you have the option to ask questions, but then they also give you a 3-day period afterwards that if you're just sitting at home or anything, you could jot down your questions and you can still reach out to them, well, to the lawyers.
Right, and that's great. I mean,
they know their things. They know everything.
And legal fees are not cheap, so having free access to an attorney to ask these questions is pretty cool. Now, so Austell is in Cobb County.
Yes.
How many employees?
We have roughly 120 to 130, depending on the season, because we do employ people over the summer just to help out.
Right, those seasonal employees.
Exactly.
So that's a lot for. Now, are you a one-person shop? Or?
Yes.
Okay, so this is kind of like an extra arm for you, right?
I have a few different arms, actually. I'm the HR director, and I'm also the deputy city clerk. So.
Wow.
I take in that position also.
And I think that's one of the things that's interesting is that people don't realize about city government is really, it's such a lean process. I mean, there's one person doing a lot of different things.
Exactly.
And city, we use the term city clerk and people think like secretary, but it's actually more like CEO in some cases, where you're doing a lot of stuff. And HR can land your city in a lot of trouble if you don't.
Yes.
And so you personally have only been in Georgia for a few months.
Just a few months. I'm originally from Florida. And back home I was an office manager. So roughly that's only maybe 5 employees at the most underneath you, because it was for a medical office. Okay. So jumping from 5 employees to 120, that's a big difference.
Right.
So just having HR behind me, and on top of it, even when you do go to these HR classes, the networking.
Right. I was going to ask about that.
You
can pick up the phone and call somebody.
Exactly. Because all of us, we're different cities and we're in different counties, but most of the times we always run into the same exact issues. Okay. So it's helpful to know that, hey, it's not just me that's...
Right. Somebody else also has had this question or has had this issue.
Exactly.
And I don't have to make all the mistakes to learn how to fix it.
Exactly.
I can skip past that part. That's great to know. When you're part of a group that where I can just pick up the phone and call somebody. So tell me, because your background was not city government. And,
no.
One of the things that everybody is dealing with, and every industry, is that workforce development issue. And I'm sure as a personnel director, you see this too. Recruiting people for the city. But what attracted you to city government work? What was it that appealed to you about it?
Actually, starting off, it was a court clerk.
Okay.
That's where I started off with the city of Austell.
And there's the municipal court.
Yes.
Okay.
And it was just something about just watching TV, just going into just a regular courtroom. Right. I wanted to be in there.
Right.
So when I seen the position open, I was like, this might be the time. Not knowing that in the long run, there was something else a little bit more, bigger out there. So I just ended up in this seat.
Do you like it?
I love it. I love it. I love the city of Austell. I love how our council members are one-on-one with us. They check in on us. They make sure that we're okay, not just for the job, but just in our personal. We're not just machines. We're actual people that have a life, that have things going on too. Yeah. Our mayor, he stays in contact with us. That's awesome. Mayor pro tem, he's walking around here somewhere. You have a family there.
Right.
And I love it. And then with GMA, they're awesome.
Well,
anytime you walk into honestly, I can't remember sending an email and not getting a response that day.
That's great.
And even with the HR Express, GMA actually gave us a scholarship for it.
That's right, because you guys are part of our insurance program.
Exactly.
So it's, to keep you out of trouble, give you that scholarship for it. So you've done the records retention, you did the meeting. Have you made friendships through this group, through the HR Express?
Yes, actually, the young woman that's over it, Aileen, so helpful.
Yeah.
So helpful. Like I said, there's never a day that I haven't sent in an email and she hasn't shot it right back to me. She really knows, and you know what, too? She gives you an option to say if there's any topics that you want to discuss.
Right.
And they do the research for you and create a whole itinerary, just everything just for this
So it's
topic.
not just like what they want to tell you, it's what you really need to hear and get out of that.
Exactly.
What would you tell a city, and this is going to be my little promo thing, that's not in HR Express? Why do you think they should be?
You're missing out if you're not. That's you're missing out because, like I said, you have that support. Yes, I know you have your support of your city, but it's something else when you have a bigger.
Does it give you extra? And you can say no. It's okay. But do you feel a little more confident when you're making like personnel decisions?
Of course.
Okay.
Of
that
course.
you feel like, I know I have a little better sense of what I'm doing here with this, and that's great. That's what we want. So yay!
And that means you guys are accomplishing your goal every day with me per se. I don't know about everybody else, but it gives me a stronger position in my job on a day-to-day basis, knowing that I have that support from HR Express. Yeah. It's wonderful to have your support from your city, and I have that, but then I have another support system there too.
Right.
So,
well, great. Well, we're really pleased that that's something that we pride ourselves on at GMA, is being a resource to cities. So I am pleased that we are doing that. Yes. And welcome to the GMA family.
Thank you.
And the family of city government officials. It's a big family. There's about 5,000 folks in the state, so you can't go anywhere and not meet somebody you're connected to. So that's great. And now we're going to go back out to Kelly, who is with Duffied Aquatics.
Hey there, we are with Allison Youngblood with Duffield Aquatics. How are you doing tonight?
Very good, thank you.
Awesome. So tell us a little bit more about your company.
So Duffield Aquatics has been in business for over 45 years. We provide solutions to swimming pool equipment, commercial swimming pool equipment throughout the Southeast, services and solutions that treat the water for clean, clear, safe swimming water.
Awesome. So we're in this Savannah heat, so I'm sure that's a little free marketing for you all, for people to come and really think about that. So what are some of the projects that you've done here in Georgia recently?
Most recently, we installed a water chemistry controller at Fort Stewart, and we also have worked with the City of Hartwell. We have provided solutions throughout the whole state.
Right. So it sounds like small or large, mid-size, you all serve an array of municipalities, it sounds like.
That is correct. We do Olympic-sized swimming pools. We also do combat training pools, and then we do splash pads. So as small as a splash pad, as large as a military combat training pool.
Okay. So there's some competitors out there, I'm sure, within the state, within the region. What are some things that sets your company apart from them?
What sets us apart is that we do provide services to every solution that we provide. So any equipment that we install in a mechanical room, we also have resources and people that will come out and do service for that equipment.
Awesome. Sounds like a one-stop shop, very convenient for cities. That's great. Now, where can our members find you today, this weekend, and in the future?
So today we are at booth 615 at the Georgia Municipal Association Convention Center, or conference, and then we are on Facebook, we are on Instagram, and on the World Wide Web at DuffieldAquatics.com.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for taking a moment to stop and talk to me. You all come out, as small as splash pads and as big as pools, Olympic pools. So, so thank you so much. All right, we are going to head over to one of our favorite people in the world. Maybe not world, but we love him. Over to Home Depot. As you can see, we're very, very live here. So we have, there he is. All right. Hey there, how you doing? Good to see you. I'm sorry, good to see you. So we are here. So we talked last year. So tell the people who you are and then what you do with Home Depot and a little bit about the program that we have partnered with you with.
Okay. Yeah, I'm Eric with Home Depot. We are here to promote the GMA Home Depot relationship. And so we've put together a program that allows for e-procurement, which means you guys have a direct link on your main website to us that allows for you to create a cart, send the order over to us. You can set it up for delivery or pickup. Free delivery over $150. Special discounting at $1,000. You get 20% off paint. Special order appliance pricing. So yeah, a lot of good benefits for you guys.
So it sounds like a win-win all around. So I know some cities are already actively participating, but what are the first steps that cities should take if they want to participate?
So the first step is to contact our pro-government team. So Dolly, which a lot of the folks already know.
We saw his flat person.
Yep. So Dolly's out there as a flat person. Okay. But yeah, contact Dolly. He'll get everything set up. It's real simple. It's a simple process. We'll get you registered in, create a password and a link, sign into the link, and you're ready to go. It's really simple.
Now, I know you listed a whole lot of benefits, which are great for cities, but what sets this apart from other e-procurement or other services that cities may be using now?
It also allows for an annual rebate, so you get 3% back annually. Right, yeah, exactly.
All you had to say was rebate, and our cities love it.
Absolutely, rebate. So it allows all the same benefits a larger city would get, and an annual rebate along top of it.
Awesome. So where can they find out more about the program and Home Depot in general?
One, then just go directly to the GMA site. So if you go to the GMA site, look into on the finance side, slide down the middle of the page, our link is on there. So on the page, you'll see a couple of training videos. There's a webinar. Down the bottom of the page is a link for you to sign on, register to get your password, and then an open link.
Wow, so really, really easy and really helpful. So thank you so much, Eric, for talking with us. And I hope cities, you have to go out. Rebate. Right, rebate. So thank you. Enjoy the convention. See ya. All right, and we are going to go over to Georgia Power. I hear they have something that I'm going to be very excited about. So let's see. Okay. And it looks like the bar is still open. Oh, is this where we're going? Oh my gosh. Okay. Hey there. Hi, how are you? All right, so this already has me very excited, okay? Hey there, how are you? Hi, Todd. Nice to meet you. So they told me that we were coming somewhere really cool, and I had no idea it was this, so thank you very much. Todd, tell us a little bit about what you do at Georgia Power and what we have here.
Yeah, so I'm our electric transportation program manager, and we help provide turnkey solutions for all of our customers that are interested in putting in electric vehicle charging stations, kind of letting them know about all the electric vehicle offerings that are here now and really what's coming in the near future. And there's not a lot of people that can provide that true turnkey solution for the customers, for site evaluations, helping select the best charger that's going to be fit for their best intended use there, providing the whole installation process. We do that for Georgia Power for all of our cities and municipality customers. So.
Awesome. So turnkey is definitely huge and more than a buzzword. It's like the convenience and it's a savior. So what else do your solution offer that other companies may not?
Well, we also have a rebate. Money, people love getting money, right? So, and we also, a lot of people may not have the capital budget to put this type of installation into the ground right now, because sometimes they can be expensive, right? Not all the time, but Georgia Power can either offer that as the turnkey as a capital project. We also can even put as a line item on your power bill if people want to pay out of a different operating expense budget and spread it out over time. We have the ability to do that as well.
Well, I'm super intrigued, and I'm not an elected official, so I know the ones watching are. Where can they find out more about this program and just Georgia Power in general?
Yeah, the best place to go is to just go to georgiapower.com/EV. It'll have all the information about all the different program offerings we have. If you're interested in buying an electric vehicle, there's a lot of electric vehicle offerings on there, some calculators to see if driving an EV is right for you. We have a lot of residential information on there as well. But for the cities and municipalities, I'd go to georgiapower.com/EV and look under our commercial section.
Okay, awesome. So we are going to, they say I can play a little bit with the car. Tell us what we have here. Obviously it looks great. So we have the power charging there.
Yeah, what we really do for our business customers, we help them install a level 2 charger. So that's your 240-volt type charger. This is just an example of one of the displays of one someone may put in as an amenity for their employees. But what we have here is the brand new 2018 Tesla Model 3. They've had the Model S out for a while. The Model X is their SUV version, but this is the Model 3. It's supposed to be kind of more of an everyday person's affordable car. This one is fully loaded out at about $52,000, $54,000 price point. It's got a 315 mile range on it. They're coming out with another version it's the same Model 3, a little bit smaller range without all the accessories. That's a $35,000 vehicle. So Georgia Power is really agnostic to the vehicles that you get. We just want people to plug in and drive electric.
I love that. Plug in and drive electric. So I'm going to sit here for a while, but we're going to go right back to Amy and Mayor Matt Seal with the Mayor Matt Seal with the City of Osceola with the Small Town Podcast. Thank you again, Todd.
Thank you, Kelly. I'm sorry, we're laughing about you. We like calling him Mayor Matt. And let me just say, Teslas are super cool. My stepdaughter and her husband have 2 Teslas, and it's a rite of passage that you ride in the frunk. There's no engine.
The frunk.
There's no engine there, so they open it up and you ride in there. Not far and not dangerously. Yeah. On a small residential street where there's no traffic.
I hadn't thought about that aspect, but that sounds pretty cool. Yeah.
So that's super cool. So we appreciate Georgia Power being here, and also I need to say thank you to them as well for being a presenting sponsor at the GMA annual convention, which is awesome.
Definitely.
And so Mayor Matt Seal.
I'm a hashtag now.
Yes, exactly. Hashtag Mayor Matt of Osceola, Georgia, and tell us a little bit about Osceola.
Osceola, a small rural town. We're the only incorporated city in Irwin County, a little farming town. Population about 3,400 in Middle South Georgia. I know the way you have to do small towns is you have to.
What it's near.
Yes. So we're about 30 minutes east of Tifton, which is along the interstate, and to us that's a metropolis.
So
but some people still don't know where Tifton is. Yeah, if you look on the map, if you're on the map, it's actually to the right of Tifton.
Okay.
If you're looking down on the map, yeah,
gotcha.
yeah.
And so one of the things that you have started this year, and I am a huge, huge, huge fan and supporter of, is your Small Town Podcast.
Yes.
So tell us a little bit about the origin of the Small Town Podcast, and then some of the folks that you've talked to.
Okay, so backstory, I guess. Small Town Podcast. I came up with the idea because there was a much larger podcast that focused on my city of Osceola, Georgia, for a crime that had been committed called Up and Vanished.
Right.
And so we got a lot of attention, and it kind of confirmed what I already knew, what everyone already knows. In a small town, you really only get media attention when something negative happens, when something bad happens. So I kind of thought, well, what can I do to try to give at least the whole story? There's still some struggles, and we talk about those things too, but what is something I can do to do the whole story? So what started out as kind of this side project, when someone named Amy Henderson caught wind of it at GMA, it became a little bigger.
I just have to say that at the same time, so it was like you called me, and I had been listening to various podcasts, and I'm a huge fan of podcasts, and I had been thinking, gosh, I wish GMA could do a podcast. We just don't have the time and the resources. And then you called me, and you said, I'm thinking about doing a podcast, and I said, I think you should do a podcast.
Well, because even to give people details beyond that, so Michael McPherson, our district rep,
right.
I just let him know.
Blame him.
No, it's not a blame. I just let him know. I said, hey, I'm thinking about this. If GMA could push information out that way, I'd be glad to do something like that. And he just said, oh, you need to talk to Amy Henderson. And so it went from there and has become quite an adventure, a lot more than just this little side project, a little bigger than a hobby so far, and it's been a great experience.
It's and I was listening on my way down here to Savannah. I was listening to your most recent one, which was the mayor of the city of Greensboro.
Yep, Mayor Glenn Wright. Yep.
And, it really struck me how little things little things that a council do can really have big impacts on people's lives in a way that really, really matters.
Yeah.
And I love that you're bringing that out.
That has been, it's something that you kind of know if you think about it, but it reconfirms it and tells you the stories and gives you so many examples, because when people think about politicians in general, we think about the federal level, the state level, the governor or state representatives, state senators. But there's so many more people that get into politics and at the local level and stay there. And so Mayor Glenn Wright is a great example. It took him 3 times because he felt so strongly about getting involved to get on his city council in Greensboro. And he served there for, I believe it was 18 years as a councilman. and has now been the mayor for 16 years.
Yeah, and he's the city's first African American
That's right.
mayor.
That's right. And the reason he got in the first place, he didn't have political ambitions.
Right.
He just felt like that the black citizens in his community were underrepresented, underserved, and so he, like I said, not once, not twice, 3 times, he was determined, and so he's made an impact in a big way.
He really has.
It's a great story to tell. And there's a lot of towns that have a similar story.
Exactly, and it happens every single day,
Right.
and people don't know those stories. And I love that you're bringing those to light. So tell us a little bit about some of the people you've talked to so far.
Well, the first one I ever interviewed, and I knew to get started when I was trying to figure out how to do this, because I had I'm not a journalist. I didn't have any background in radio, so I said, I need someone who's gonna really tell great stories without me necessarily knowing what I'm doing. So Lace Futch from Willacoochee was the perfect candidate for that.
Yes.
And it was just a great experience, and he was just very generous with his time. And we had so much material, as you know,
right.
that we had to make 2 episodes out of that, and it was all great.
He has some stories.
He does. There were some I edited out, actually, for his
save
protection.
The innocent. That's right.
That's right. But let's see. I'm trying to go through the cities. I got to interview Clementine Washington, who's now Dr. Washington from the city of Midway. When I ran into her first as the mayor of Midway, she's now mayor pro tem because of term limits. I said, now, are you the same Clementine Washington that was my assistant principal at Hinesville Middle School and Liberty County High School? And so that was like a walk down memory lane, and that was just neat to do that.
Point out, too, that you're not originally from Ocilla.
No, and that's crazy. In a small town, usually it's, 5 generations have been there and farmed the land. And
I love that one of the questions that you ask with because you interviewed the candidates for governor and lieutenant governor.
That's right.
Every candidate for governor and lieutenant governor you interviewed.
I've now got all of them.
And you asked that question, you're like, who are your people? And that is a question that
where are you from and what do your folks do?
Right. And if you're in a small town, that is always a question.
Yeah.
It's like it's always that question. It's like, who are your people? How do we know you?
Your connection and your family
is
vitally important the smaller the community is.
Yeah.
And so I thought that was an appropriate way, even though majority of the people I was talking to, I was in Atlanta when I was talking to them. But that's a small town question, and I was asking on behalf of small towns in the rural areas, and had a great time, and everyone seemed to enjoy the question.
Yeah.
And it gave them a chance to answer something that I don't think most people had been asking them. Where did you come from? Not where do you stand on this issue. Before we got to the issues, it was important to say, what's your background?
Right. What do your parents do?
Yeah.
What's your mom and how's your mama?
Yeah. I didn't say how's your mom and them.
Yeah.
I think is the way it's usually phrased.
But
something along those lines. So it set off the interview in a great way.
What do we have to look forward to? What are some of the upcoming episodes?
Well, since this is live, I can say that there's actually more candidate interviews because number one, you said I interviewed all the candidates for governor, lieutenant governor. I missed one for governor.
That's right.
It was Stacey Abrams. I now have her. Was glad to make that finally work. It was scheduling conflicts that kept us from able to do that. And once the primary was over, the schedule freed up enough to do that. But then I went back and interviewed Brian Kemp and Casey Cagle, who are now in a runoff for governor, and then also Jeff Duncan and David Schaefer.
New interviews.
Yes, new questions, different questions, kind of a different take. So I've got those, and that'll be exciting. But I've gone on a couple trips, and the city's coming up. The city of Homerville.
Okay.
Down as south as South Georgia can get. You go any farther, you're in Florida. The city of Pine Mountain. And then the city of the next one, because the most recent one we just referenced, city of Greensboro. There's another really small town in the same county called Siloam, population 240. And I interviewed a man that is on the city council now, but has been the mayor off and on since he was 25, and he's now 92.
Oh my gosh!
So we've got some history.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
I just love all the stories that can come out of small towns, and we should tell folks that you define small town as population under
less than 10,000. We had to cut the watermark, somewhere.
Right.
But interestingly enough, and you and I have talked about this, in the state of Georgia. 75%, actually more than that, of all the incorporated cities have a population less than 10,000.
Right,
so there's more small towns than there are big cities.
Georgia really is a state of small towns, and
I bet we'd find most states would be set up that way. We focus on the big cities, but there's actually more small towns to go do.
And I know I've said this. This is my on my wish list for you is to go into one of these small towns and go to the Hardee's or if there's a Cracker Barrel or the hardware store where the old men gather every day for breakfast and gossip.
So you've named chains that everyone recognizes. If you come to Osceola, there is no Hardee's. It's called Peck's Place, and the men sit around what they call the table of knowledge. And that's breakfast or lunch.
Obviously that they've named it, their wives have not named it that.
I'll make no comment on that because I like all those guys. But that's where I need to go is some of those places. So I'm really looking forward to doing some extra things. It's been overwhelming but fun just to keep up with going to small towns interviewing just the mayor or council member, or in the city of Colquitt, the fire chief.
Yes,
that was interesting because he'd been the fire chief for 37 years,
right?
And so there were stories to tell.
You know, his background was really interesting.
Yeah.
You know,
great.
Father owned the convenience store basically, and you know, and now he started off as a volunteer firefighter.
That's right.
Was the chief.
Yep.
And is now volunteering again.
Well, he's still the chief in a volunteer capacity, but works for the city in another capacity, helping with their operations.
It's amazing.
And that's what you do in a small town that people in a big city may not. They may think that's weird, but it's just how we have to do things because that's, you know.
So and I hope maybe one of these, you know, I love the podcast. I want it to keep going strong, and I want people to follow it, and I want you to go to Edge Hill.
Okay. Population 24.
Population 24. Yep. Smallest city in the state. I just, you know, awesome little place. So.
Well, I couldn't have done any of this as big or as good without your help and without GMA sponsorship. So while I'm live, thank you, Amy Henderson, for
I kind of feel like I bullied
pushing
you,
me beyond the limits.
Bullied you into a lot of this.
Maybe, but it's been
and tell people where
great.
They can find you, find the podcast, follow you on social media.
Okay, so it's Small Town Podcast. It's www.smalltownpodcast.com, and you can go to the listen page and see all the different apps. But we're on Apple iTunes, Apple Podcast app, Stitcher, iHeartRadio, Google Play. I think there's a couple others there that I'm forgetting. Spotify.
Anywhere anybody can find a podcast.
Just about any place you're listening to podcast, you can go listen to Small Town Podcast.
And the goal is to, when somebody Googles small town.
Yeah. I'd like it not to be murder or crime. We're trending, but we've got some work to do. So, so go check us out on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Small Town PCast. Follow us, and there's some great small towns, some great stories to be told.
And if you are a small town and you've got a great story,
hit me up on social media.
Hashtag Mayor Matt.
Hashtag Mayor Matt. Or Mayor Matt at smalltownpodcast.com is my email address. Feel free to hit me up there. I'm looking for opportunities to visit some great small towns.
Great. Well, thank you so much. We look forward to future episodes, and I got to catch up on finishing the Camilla one, and I'll be up to date. So thank you so much, and we're going to be right back with some closing thoughts. And welcome back to Live in the Hall. I'm Amy Henderson with GMA.
And I'm Kelly Bennett.
And we are excited to be able to check this day off.
Yes, it's been a long day.
It's like preparing for a marathon to get to convention. There's a lot that goes on behind the scenes to bring all this together. And, you know, every year it always comes together, and we're always excited. And it's, you know, we get so much energy from seeing everybody. Right. But it is nice at the end of the day to say, okay, mission accomplished. We got this done.
Like after you run that marathon, you cross the finish line and like carb up, like eat crazy.
That's right.
This is our like eating crazy finish line moment. So it's been good. I mean, and I love seeing like the videos we work on, you know, the exhibit hall come together. So it's great, but it's like, okay, we're doing it.
Yeah.
We're there.
And it's always lovely to be in Savannah. You can't get a bad meal anywhere in this town. I've tried. No. So we appreciate all of you being with us, and we look forward to seeing you tomorrow. We'll be back here in the morning and meet some more of our vendors and talk to more about, you know, people who are engaged here with GMA. And we'll be back here tomorrow at 9 a.m. Please join us. We look forward to seeing you then.
Have a good night.